But like, we don't have to start yet. Like, I'll just cut this part out. What were you gonna say?
Gotcha. No, I just completely agree with Michel. Like, Algorand has this amazing technology that is, I think, underappreciated by developers.
Save it for the interview, bro. Save it for the interview.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me.
I know.
You don't need to
like
tell
getting
me.
into it.
All right, we can start. I'll just start it. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on? Welcome back to AlgoHQ. I'm here with Michel Dahdah, co-founder of RandLabs, and John Clarke, co-founder of Algofi, two people who have come together to start the HackAlgo initiative, which is going to be a hackathon, community-driven, trying to bring more developers in to create teams, build protocols, build on top of protocols on Algorand. Guys, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course. So HackAlgo, when did this come together? Like, when did this idea pop up, and why do you think you really want to go forward with it and do this idea? Start with John.
I'm actually trying to remember, Michel, maybe you can help me out. When did we initially think of this? I feel like it's been in the back of our minds, but I'm forgetting when we started working.
Yeah, I actually trying to recall when this idea popped up, but I have no idea. Probably, I think John and I, we've been discussing a lot about many different things, and probably through those discussions, we just kind of probably identified that hackathons are a great tool to get the community, growing right on the developer side. So maybe through those discussions, we actually, after saying it many times, we probably at some point decided, hey, let's just do it, and here we are.
Yeah, I think we were discussing how Solana has, done well to motivate, existing Web3 developers and Web2 developers that want to break into the space in, sort of developing on their stack. So, learning Rust, learning how to write Solana-based smart contracts, and it's been successful. Like their Riptide series. So I would say that and the fact that Algorand already does hackathons as an organization, we kind of thought maybe we can build something that has a bit more of a community feel from the builders like C3, Algofi, TinyMan, etc.
Yeah. So for builders, developers, if they find out about HackAlgo, maybe through this video, maybe through something else, what's in it for the devs, right? So what are the bounties or targets that you're kind of setting up for these devs, so when they come in, they have something to work for?
Yeah, I think there's 3 or 4 main things in my opinion. If you're looking to learn more about Algorand in general and get your feet wet, probably HackAlgo is a great way of doing so. Not only because there's going to be different levels of difficulty of bounties that are easier to be done rather than others all the way to full-flung projects that are up for grabs, but you'll be working on projects that are already live, right, that have TVL or that are launching soon. So you're kind of like whatever you do, you'll see its impact pretty quickly, right, in production, right, with some of these applications which are the most popular ones today on Algorand. That's one thing. On the other side, it's a great opportunity to network, learn from our team, and also meet other people that are looking to build new stuff but just don't know what exactly or haven't found the right team. It's a good place to network with those individuals, and then maybe you put together a new team and try to tackle a new problem, right, and make a company out of it, right? I do think that there's a lot of venture funds that are going to be present, so it's a good opportunity to start an idea, meet others, and get funding.
There will be venture capitalists there. There will be investors there. And I feel like it's a great opportunity, like you said, for someone to go straight to the source, right? They'll have a very strong and clear connection to investors or to other builders. So it's because HackAlgo, we don't know how big it's going to be. Hopefully it's huge. But even if it's even if it's more community and like low key, that's has its benefits because everyone can network and meet each other and become like closer together. What were you going to say, John?
I was going to say that for HackAlgo, in terms of what devs can expect to start working on soon, we're so the projects that are involved, so like C3, Algofi, a number of other protocols, we're going to start putting bounties together on Gitcoin. And from those, they'll be able to learn a little bit more about the AVM, the SDKs, and the different types of dev tools that are available in the ecosystem. And then, based on the results of those Gitcoins, we'll be able to select teams, and people will apply for what we're anticipating will be an in-person event. Because our view on HackAlgo is that it's sort of this larger, there might be like a remote component or there will be like a decentralized component to it. That's a bit larger in scope, but then we want to bring together teams that are really excited to potentially dive into a career in Web3 and get the seeds of a protocol built at the in-person event. So I think for people that want a career change or are working in another Web3 ecosystem, this is like a perfect place to come start.
Just to reiterate on that, I think those that show a lot of motivation and commitment to building things on Web3 or even on more specifically Algorand, there's going to be a very concrete path towards the physical one taking place later on, right? On some type of like the bounties around other ecosystem hackathons run by the foundation, for instance, are going to work as a way to filter out interest and talent so that they can go to the next level, which would be a physical one. But yeah.
So I'm gonna ask both of you this and start with John. What tools do you really want to see people build like on top of your specific protocols? So AlgoFi and C3 or MyAlgo or Algo Explorer, whatever you think, Michel. But yeah, what do you guys really want to see people come in and like target? What are you thinking?
So I think for AlgoFi, on the lending side, building out protocols that leverage the liquidations a bit more is something that we're really interested in. So one example, and this will actually be a bounty that we'll publish, is leverage liquidations. So being able to use flash loans to borrow funds from the AlgoFi DEX pools and use those to repay liquidatable loans on the AlgoFi lending protocol. I think that that lowers the barrier of entry to liquidations, which is currently being done by tech savvy people that have funds. This now eliminates the tech savvy because it's just an application call, and it eliminates the requirement of funds because the funds can be borrowed via a flash loan, and people don't need that capital up front. And in terms of the DEX, I think building out interesting composable things like perhaps yield farms, so people can come and build tools that can automatically deposit people's money into certain LP tokens and then deposit those into farms, or just finding interesting composable products to build with the LP tokens themselves. Perhaps being able to borrow against LP tokens. That's something that's quite exciting that a number of lending protocols are now offering outside of Algorand. And also just like connecting, like the DEX is composable, so people can also build trading bots on the AlgoFi DEX. So maybe creating bots that are policing the relationships of the prices between all of the ecosystem DEXs. Those are just some of a few of projects.
Awesome.
Yeah, and those all sound pretty interesting. From our side, I think one specifically that gets me very excited. We hopefully someone can tackle this. Is we're seeing in the Algorand ecosystem all these issues that are happening on the on projects verification, right? Where everyone wants to get their token verified, and there's a lot of unknowns of what a verification should entail, right? As an example, so at least on the Algo Explorer side, we're kind of trying to fix that, but I think this has to be done on a DAO level, if that makes sense. So we want to put for grabs a challenge during the HackAlgo main event where teams can compete to build a new reputation system with its own tokenomics, votings, and that is hack proof, meaning that you can't beat it just by gaming the system and just having enough tokens to vote it out. Whereas it has to be thought through, and I think this reputation system, whoever wins it, will be powering that reputation system of Algo Explorer to get it
Mm.
bootstrapped, right? But the idea is that it could be something, a community-driven DAO where it can serve as a signal, right? If the community is doing like their own research and aggregating it through some type of this reputation system, it can not only help our own Algo Explorer roadmap, but also I don't know, we recently heard about Borderless Capital launching their second fund as a DAO, right? So
Mhm.
it's an example of how we want to create reputation systems that can aggregate everyone's research in a way or opinion of the projects, and that can help inform a better decision making from newcomers or just traders in general.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree that the verification, I guess people in the, 2 months ago, a month ago, kind of assumed that verification from Algorand or Algorand Foundation or Algo Explorer was like a certificate of authenticity. It's like a check mark,
Yeah,
but it really isn't. It's very much not that. So I definitely think that it's a great idea to have a DAO that might reward people for verifying projects, and if they get it right, they get rewarded, or someone can build that
exactly.
out.
And these
So
are and it's like this discussion, what John's reply and my reply just shows the different levels of like know-how you need on Algorand to participate in HackAlgo, right? So it's if you're very, if you're looking to get very your hands dirty on Teal, for instance, right? And maybe something on working directly with the Algofi smart contracts can work out. But maybe if you're still a newcomer to Teal or Algorand's overall technologies, maybe something like a reputation system is easier to implement. You don't really require a lot of smart contract knowledge to do so. So again, that's what we're trying to accomplish with HackAlgo, where there's high value items to be done, but you can, it doesn't matter your level of experience with Algorand technology, you'll be able to tackle some of those.
mm. So I have a question for you guys. What's your message to devs from other ecosystems, ETH, Solana, Terra? Take your pick. What's your message to them to bring them here? Try HackAlgo, try Algorand. I'll start with you, Michel.
Yeah, I mean, it all boils down to the technology, right? As John was mentioning at the start, where just we invite them to check out the Algorand. There's a reason why things have like it's maybe harder to build an Algorand. It's because it was built from scratch using a new approach, right? The way the limitations are put in place are for a reason, and I think if you're an entrepreneur or a builder looking to build something for the long term, you should actually check all the technologies before committing 10 years a project for 10 years down the line, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even if you see a lot of traction in Solana or Terra or Avalanche or other ecosystems, there's a reason why the smart guys at Algorand are doing the things the way they are. And at the bare minimum, you should definitely take a deep dive from this tech before making a decision, and maybe HackAlgo is a great way of doing so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. When Owen and I decided to start building on Algorand, we kind of took this long-term view that we literally looked at all of the blockchains, the different consensus algorithms that they're using, and whether or not we view that they could be the future. And we narrowed it down to a very small set where we felt Algorand was the one that was very much set apart. They innovated something amazing, like PPOS, pure,
Yeah.
is something that I think will remain competitive and on the bleeding edge of blockchain for the next 10, 20 years. And so I think that existing ecosystems are very impressive. The fact that Ethereum has attracted this huge group of developers, the largest in Web3, and all of that TVL is great. The fact that Solana was able to come in and compete with a novel consensus algorithm is very cool. I think Algorand is a great competitor in this L1 battle, and one that long term a lot of smart people are placing their bets behind. And so for people that also want to join that, HackAlgo is sort of the place to be.
Yeah, great points. And I will just add on top of that it's better to be early than late. And it's more fun to be early than late as well, because if you come into this ecosystem at this time, you join HackAlgo and you can make something interesting and useful, you have the ability and opportunity to make a big impact and actually like move the needle by yourself or with a team. So I would definitely, any dev watching this, think about that and think about you can actually make a splash, which I think is a really powerful proposition. So yeah, any last words you guys want to share? The website is hackalgo.org. You should check that out. But yeah, anything you guys want to share, John?
As a parting note, this is, as a community project that is, fairly sort of in the ethos of Algorand, is kind of like a decentralized effort. We have a bunch of teams from across the world that are helping put this together. We're kind of finding what the final event is going to look like. We think it makes sense that, in terms of timeline, we'll have Gitcoin grants that people can work on. That'll get them involved. We'll have a Discord going. People will be chatting, building out a community there with the best, Teal developers. So anyone that has questions, they're going to get their answer there quickly. And from there, I think we grow this into what we're hoping to eventually, become a Riptide-like series of events that we can hold, throughout the world. And so, I think it's something that we're very excited. We're all working on our startups, but we also have a vested interest in the Algorand ecosystem and think that hackathons are a great way to grow these ecosystems.
Yeah, and I think, just reiterating on that, the fact that it's, an ecosystem movement on the community side, or many of the main teams building on Algorand are organizing this and hosting it. That's gonna create some like it's gonna be a very productive hackathon, meaning that you'll have very real use cases up for grabs, pain points that these teams are having that can be delegated to the community for building. So I do envision a lot of applications, even all the way just aggregators of other primitives, because the teams that are hosting HackAlgo already encompass the majority of the primitives needed for DeFi to flourish. So I do envision a lot of these teams participating in HackAlgo to kind of just build on top of those primitives and start actually growing that aspect of DeFi that is so present in other blockchains but is still missing in Algorand.
Yeah, definitely that composability, layering,
Exactly.
really important. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for coming on. Amazing to speak with you. Super excited. When can we hear more about HackAlgo? When's the first deadline? Is there a deadline for application? Is there a deadline for anything like that?
Yeah, so right now we're collecting all the bounties from the teams, organizing the HackAlgo. Probably this week we should have them already in Gitcoin, and then next week we'll start announcing, prices and the overall structure of the hackathon, and also how our plans to do a present event in Miami later this year. So just stay tuned.
Awesome.
And follow us on Twitter. That's a great way of hearing the new announcements.
Yeah, follow HackAlgo on Twitter. This has been Michel Dahdah from RandLabs, John Clarke from AlgoFi. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. HackAlgo, check it out. And hopefully we'll see you there. See what you build. All right. Bye.
All right.